Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Clean 2020 Summit, where we're working to bridge the gap between proven scientific process and real-world applications for healthy congregation. We are so excited for today. This has been a labor of love, a project of commitment from so many people, and we are so excited to kick off this conversation. We are very interested in hearing from you and welcoming your feedback throughout this process, and there are many ways to engage, which I will briefly describe in my comments today. So I'm Janie Morrow. I currently serve as the Assistant Vice President for Research and Economic Development at Montana State University. And I've had a chance of meeting many of you throughout my career and had the opportunity to work with really talented folks like Ken Martinez, who will introduce himself and welcome you all in just a moment. The purpose of our summit is to bring together leaders from business, policy, standards development, science, and engineering in order to better understand our current knowledge and to identify opportunities to work together to help control viral transmission in the built environment. We wish to thank all of our sponsors, including the Sloan Foundation, and you will receive welcoming remarks from Paula Osuski, who has been so supportive in helping us frame this vision and move this conversation forward. We also wish to thank the American Industrial Hygiene Association, Cardno ChemRisk, and HWC, who have all been supporting organizations that made this event happen. We also wish to thank World Housing Solutions for their support of standing up of our entity. So in the spirit of creating this forum for us to share what we're learning and developing a process towards solutions, we encourage you to visit the expo floor and let us know if you'd like your institution represented. We hope the expo will be a place for finding collaborators, posting current guidance, and helping connect with others that are driving the state of the art for the science and innovation. We also wish to thank the steering committee, for they have given their ideas, wisdom, time, energy to make this a truly successful meeting. We also have a volunteer team, which we owe a great debt of gratitude to, including Kaisal Patel, he's an IT and comms wizard, Tony Cowan and Ted Cowan for their vision to pull together such a talented team. We're grateful for the many speakers who have joined us today and have committed to sharing their insights on the 13th and the 25th. As you will see, this is a multi-stage summit. We did that because we know that time is short and overcommitted at this point. Everyone's working very hard to help respond to COVID pandemic. And we wanted to give you a chance to give us feedback in between our individual summit stages. We also know that you are very busy and find this opportunity for foundational conversation as a time to really take inventory. We want to talk about where the novel science is, the new information that is unique about this virus, and how we can determine what we can apply and solving these challenges right now and in the future. Just to briefly recap what we will cover today and to share a bit about those next two stages of our meeting. Today, we will talk about some of the issues and challenges with reopening and confidence, assessing some of the pain points that a range of industry sectors have been working to address, identify some current best practices, policies, and procedures that have developed over the last several months, and to start to identify opportunities for collaboration across industry, government, associations, and researchers. In the second stage of our meeting, we plan to really do a deep dive on some of the science and technology that's here and ready to be integrated into standards, activities, guidance, and planning procedures. On the third stage, we're going to talk a bit about some of the lessons learned in managing risk and tools and strategies for confident operations. So we wish to really embrace the conversation today and the conversation over the next 3 days and identify those research gaps. We hope to share what we're learning with others. We have a number of different ways we will work to get information out to you all. And we are really thrilled just to have you join us on this journey and take part in this new community that is building a bridge, connecting the current science and best practices and real-world solutions for expedited innovations. And we are so thrilled to have you today. Ken, I give you the stage.
Thank you, Janie, and welcome everybody. Again, as Janie mentioned, my name is Ken Martinez. I'm currently a senior scientist with HWC. Thank my company for their sponsorship. But before that, I was with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention specifically the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health for 33 years. I was an emergency responder in the latter years of my career, and that's how I got to know Dr. J.D. Moreau. It was through the responding activities for the anthrax investigations at CDC was a huge part of that she and I met and worked on some development of standards for sampling. The COVID-19 pandemic is continuously evolving, but research is advancing and evidence is mounting every day. Our understanding, while it is not yet complete, is growing. However, there remain uncertainties, especially with regard to transmission pathways. There have been recent studies that have highlighted the increasing evidence in the airborne route of transmission. You will actually get to hear from some of these subject matter experts speaking to that very issue in the second stage. Airborne transmission pathways will require another layer of mitigation strategies that lead toward the building sciences. That might include HVAC design, filtration improvements, outdoor air considerations, perhaps the application of ultraviolet germicidal irradiation. Also, pressure relationships will need to be considered and air movement in buildings, just to name a few. However, SARS-CoV-2 is a multiple opportunity infector. As such, a sound and effective control strategy must be a whole community approach. The Clean 2020 Summit was designed on 4 core capabilities: transmission science, environmental microbiology, building science, and behavioral science. Each of these disciplines offering an understanding to a solution. We have chosen to weave these 4 core capabilities throughout all 3 of the stages of the summit. And by doing so, we hope that the presenters and participants, which include research scientists, industry leaders, and business owners, they will begin to appreciate, absorb, and mix their thinking across all 4 of these core capabilities. New solutions are born out of innovative thought, and our hope for the future is that we are all thinking and planning together. In the time of COVID-19, science wants to help. Businesses need that help. We just need to construct a communication route between them. Let's build that bridge together. In closing, I want to thank the steering committee for their willingness, voices, and leadership throughout the planning process. I also want to thank the speakers and moderators for volunteering their time and expertise to help us deliver the conversation to all of you. Now, let's hear what they have to say and to teach us. Thank you.
Next, we will have Paula Ozusi from the Sloan Foundation join us and give welcoming remarks.
Good morning. It's an honor to give some brief remarks at the Clean 2020 Virtual Summit. I'll start by thanking the organizers, Janie Morrow and Ken Martinez, and the steering committee for their vision. I also want to thank the speakers, moderators, volunteers, and participants. Together, we can make progress toward controlling coronavirus indoors, leading to healthy and safe congregation. Scientists called it the novel coronavirus for a reason. It's new. When this virus first appeared in late 2019, we knew almost nothing about it. We had to learn how it spread and how effectively. No one expected that apparently healthy people could shed the virus. We had to learn how lethal it was and how that differed among demographics. We had to learn how to detect its presence in the body and how to help the body's systems fight it off. It's been a daunting challenge, one that I think we all can say that the scientific community has risen to and continues to address. The big challenge we are addressing at this summit, however, is controlling coronavirus indoors, leading to healthy and safe congregation. And on this topic, I am here to strike a note of hope. We have reason to be very optimistic because the study of the indoor environment is not novel. It is not new. For nearly 20 years, some of the best scientific minds in the world have been studying the indoors. The work began in earnest in 2001 in response to a totally different national emergency, a series of terrorist attacks that involved sending powdered anthrax in the mail. In response, members of the scientific community came together to develop guidance for protecting buildings against biological threats, published by NIOSH in 2002. I remember that time well because I work at the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, a private foundation that funds basic scientific research. And it was around that time that the foundation began funding scientists to study the indoors because it became clear that we knew very little about the indoor microbial environment. We needed to better understand how indoor environments work. Since that time, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation has funded some 230 projects, totaling nearly 80 million in funding, to help hundreds of microbiologists, chemists, engineers, architects, and building science come together to study the ordinary indoor environments where people live, work, and play. You will hear from many of these researchers over the next 3 days. The questions researchers spent the past 2 decades studying are directly relevant to the fight against coronavirus. They have studied how quickly human occupants can alter the indoor habitat, how ventilation systems facilitate or inhibit the spread of microbial populations indoors, and how surface cleaning can impact indoor air quality. What's more, these researchers have spent 2 decades creating and honing new tools and techniques to precisely measure indoor biological and chemical phenomena. Because of their efforts, the scientific community is remarkably well positioned to help guide the nation in this next phase of the fight to control coronavirus indoors. This fact brings into sharp relief the critical importance of funding basic scientific research. Basic research is often undertaken without a larger agenda or practical application in mind. We sometimes hear it said that because of that lack of practicality, it is of limited value. But what the COVID-19 pandemic has shown us in the most striking terms is that the future is unpredictable. We don't know today what knowledge we will need tomorrow. And because the National Science Foundation and Sloan and others funded basic science on the indoor environment, we have an entire body of knowledge to marshal in our defense when we need it most. Never has the value of funding basic science been so clear. Victory against COVID-19 will only come when we find a way to be safely together as coworkers, as neighbors, as friends and families. That requires compiling all we know and all we don't about how indoor spaces work, so we can make our homes and workplaces, our bars and restaurants, our schools, our theaters and arenas once again into places of fellowship and social connection. That is why the Sloan Foundation is a proud sponsor of the Clean Summit. I look forward to an exciting 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, for your remarks. So appreciated, and your vision to lead this conversation for the years that have preceded where we are today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support.
Sure.